Hello and welcome back to my second YouTube video. I just want to thank everyone for all the support in the first video. I'm honestly so happy. I couldn't believe the amount of messages I've had of not just family and friends but also people I didn't even know and people from my area or people not from around here that have messaged me, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. It's given me the confidence to already film more, so I couldn't wait to get to film this one. So as you can tell from the title, this one is my birth story. I wanted to film this video because throughout when I was pregnant, all I searched for was my birth story, my labour story on YouTube. But I always search for my positive birth story, my positive labour story. But I think it's important to remember that all births are different. Like, your baby's got to come out one way or another, whether it be naturally, epidural, C-section, forceps, it's going to come out and you need to be prepared for anything to happen. So it's worth hearing all different types of stories, but the way it happened to you is just your way. You just need to be prepared. It's amazing either way. I just wanted to show my experience. I am not going to call it my positive, because I think when people watch videos of positive, they want to see like no drugs, no epidural, no forceps, no episiotomy, and mine contains all of that. So I gave birth 7 months ago now. Ariel is now 7 months old. And so I'm from South Wales, so I gave birth in Glangwili in Carmarthen, which has a midwife-led unit. That was mainly the reason why I chose there. I feel locally there's either Glangwili or Singleton Hospital in Swansea, where I was actually born, but Josh was born in Glangwili. Both the same amount of distance to drive to. They're both about a 35-minute drive each. I was already warning Josh of the screams he's probably going to get on the drive. Right, where do I start? Before I forget, I've actually got this book, which one of my clients bought me when I was pregnant. Thank you, Misha. And because of the relevance of it being mummy, I actually use this to log everything to do with my pregnancy down. So if you're pregnant and watching this, I really recommend doing that. I don't know why, I liked knowing what was going on during my pregnancy. Even though I had a relatively easy pregnancy, it was all quite fine actually. I got to, I think towards the end, I had an extra growth scan because I grew quite quick. Turns out she's just a big baby. I think I was carrying a lot of fluid, so it was all fine, but other than that I sailed through my pregnancy. Yeah, I logged everything in this, and I also wrote my labour story down in it. So I've had a quick read through it, but I can never forget my labour. So I'm now writing in there about now, like when she smiled for the first time and she had her first 2 teeth. After writing it all down, I think it'd be nice to read through, and if we're lucky enough to ever have a second one, I'll probably look back at it to compare as well. Where do I begin? Ariella was due on the 4th of March 2020, and I didn't think I'd come on time. My first one, I thought, oh, it'd be like 2 weeks over now. That's what seemed to be the norm. And I found it weird that, so when you're pregnant, if you are pregnant or if you don't and you're just watching, when you get pregnant, they class your due date from the day of your last period, from when before you got pregnant. So that's why I thought, that's why everyone's 2 weeks late, because it's kind of out by 2 weeks, but because you know, you didn't conceive then, that baby hasn't physically been in there for that 2 weeks before. But no, they class it from your last period. So okay, I just thought I'll be over, definitely. But no, on the 3rd of March, me and Josh had just gone to Starbucks for a little sit down. We went to B&M, I was looking at cushions to buy for the living room. I took a photo on my phone at 4:45 of a cushion on the floor because we dropped it, and I just took a photo of it on the floor instead of holding it up because I couldn't be bothered to bend down. Obviously I put it back in the chair. Got home, I think we took Teddy, our dog, out for a walk. I went and just took a lie down on the bed. I just was tired, so I just thought I'll just have a little lie down now. I lay down my sides on my phone. Within about a minute, I just heard a massive pop, and I was like, I just froze. I was thinking, is that the pop they talk about that you can hear when your waters break? I don't know. So I kind of froze. I stood up slowly, expecting I don't know what I expected, I just expected it all to come out. And nothing did, and I walked over to the ensuite, literally like baby steps over. sat in the toilet and just let myself pee. So I didn't know if it was pee or my water had broken or not. So I called Josh. He like ran straight over. He's like, has your water gone? I was like, I don't know, something popped and I don't know if this is pee or if this is water, but I can't stop it. He's like, we've got to stand up then. So I stood up and yeah, my waters had gone. It just continued to come down my legs. What they don't tell you, which I didn't know, so your waters can break at the start, they can break when you're 8 centimetres, you know, some people's waters don't break till after their contractions, till they're further along. And I know you can have front waters and back waters breaking. What I didn't realise, I thought they just broke, sort of gushed out and that was it. But no, they continue to come out all the time. When I realised, yeah, it's my waters, I jumped in the shower. Josh phoned all the family to let them know we think Ella's waters have broken. Like, right, what do we do? And I was like, oh, I think it can take hours for contractions to start. I'll be here all night. And I was like, quick, download that contractions app, which I'd planned to download, but I just was laxy-daisy with thinking that I'd be late. So the contractions app is where you like press when you're having a contraction, press for how long it is, and I think it's meant to tell you then, like, right, go to hospital now. Within 5 minutes after my waters broke, I had my first feeling of, I was like, is that a contraction? It was just a really dull ache, like a period pain, but really didn't hurt. It's like, right, if that's it, like I just want to remember now that it was at this time. I think, so 5:30 my waters broke, by the way, so literally 5:35, first feeling. Basically every 5 minutes then, I had pain and it got worse and they got longer. I went to the hospital just to let them know I was like, yeah, my waters have gone, I'm just letting you know I'm having contractions, but I could still speak through them at this point. I was still sort of frantically like, well, I was upstairs for 4 hours, I don't know what I did for 4 hours. Felt like 10 minutes. I remember I put a film on, try and watch a film and keep calm. So I thought I'd put Pitch Perfect on, just something easy to watch. And within the first minute of the first scene, I was like, no, walking around, make sure everything in my bag was packed. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I couldn't talk through them. But instantly, 5 minutes apart, 45 seconds to a minute long, really painful, couldn't speak through them. So I phoned the hospital and they were like, yeah, calm down. So we made our way to drop Teddy, our dog, off in Josh's grand's house first on the way. So I was in the car having contractions with a dog on my lap. Literally, this is so much information, but when I watch these videos, I wanted to know these stuff. So I was waters were coming out in the car. I had a towel down, but that wasn't enough. Dropped Teddy, carried on going. I don't really remember the journey much. I remember being alright, like I just more took the deep breaths during my contractions. I think what they say now, in for 4 out of 8. Is that right? Can't remember now. Then we got there, went straight into the midwife-led unit. Again, I was walking along that corridors. I had just black leggings on, I don't know what top I'd on, but I was absolutely drenched. It took me straight into one of the rooms, which is lovely, really nice bed, TV. It's honestly like a hotel room. Instantly they were like, right, do you want gas and air? I was like, yes. So they gave me gas and air, which was really good to start with. I loved it. I was like, oh my god, it's amazing. You take it in when you start to feel a contraction come in. So by the time the contraction's on its peak, you've like got the full dose of it and you can't really feel it. And then you stop taking it, you're calm, it's fine. But then it got to the point where my contractions were getting so close together, there was no gap with taking the gas and air, and it wasn't really getting rid of the pain at all. I was still feeling it and I couldn't get rid of it with the gas and air. I think I'd been there 45 minutes when the midwife came in and was like, do you want more pain relief? And what do you want? And I was thinking, like, do I have a pethid in next? Is that the next step? Or can I have an epidural straight away? So I was like, can I have an epidural? And she's like, yeah, I just need to prep you to go upstairs. I'm so glad I asked for it then, because I think by the time I actually had the epidural, it must have been about 40-45 minutes later. By the time they take you upstairs, and then they have to get the anaesthetist to come and give you the injection, and the anaesthetist could be with someone else, so you have to wait for them to come to you. By the time they came then, I was I was having gas and air whilst they were putting the epidural in my back. So I didn't look at the needle because I know it's apparently like this big. I didn't feel it because I was having gas and air at the same time. So it was fine. And then I think instantly I was numb from there down. I can't really remember. And then they do tests on you to feel where you can feel it from your toe up to about here, I think. They do them, I think every hour, or every so often consistently. They've got to check if you can still feel or not. I couldn't feel from my toes to there. And then every 20 minutes, then I had a button, and when the 20-minute timer had finished, you could press the button, and it sort of give you more of the epidural. You would just feel this cold sensation going down your back, and then it would just dose up. Literally from then, so I'm assuming that was about 11:30, 12 o'clock till 6 a.m. in the morning. I had a lovely night. No, I had a midwife to my left. She was going through the, keeping an eye on the charts. My mother and Josh in the room, they were trying to like relax and sleep, and they told me to as well, telling me to relax and try and save my energy. I couldn't feel anything. I was literally like, am I having a contraction now? Or they're just telling me like, yeah, you're having a contraction, can you feel it? Like, no. We had the TV on, we were watching Grand Designs, I think. And then at some point in the night, I remember Josh coming to like hear me, and I just went, oh, I'm starting to feel sick. And I was like, oh no, I feel really sick. I was like, pass me and he passed me this bucket for, I think it was he meant to pee in it, so it's only small, or was it a sick one? Anyway, it wasn't big enough. Passed me this little thing. As he passed it to me, I literally like projectile vomited nearly over him. I'm glad I didn't it easy, and my mother was there. I just projectile vomited over myself and the bed instead. So a quick change of me, my sheets, my pillowcase, everything. And she had to give me an anti-sickness medication because I think it was just the epidural. I just went sick because of that, and I think I still went sick again, so to give me another anti-sickness drug, and that one seemed to make me a bit high. So I was then chatting rubbish for the next hour. I think I remember they were like, try and sleep, and I was there with my eyes closed talking to my mother, to the midwife. Literally, I can't remember about what. I just remember just talking rubbish. They check you every 4 hours. So every 4 hours they checked me, I was 2 centimeters progressed. So by 6 a.m, I was 10 centimeters when they checked me. And I literally had in my head, oh my gosh, she's gonna be here in the next 2 hours. Like, I'm just gonna push her out and she'll be here. They said they wait an hour to just completely let the head come down before you can start pushing. And typically the midwife that was with me all night, she was finishing her shift at 7, I think. So she wouldn't be there for me to actually push Ariella out, which was sad because she'd been there all night and she was honestly lovely. All the midwives there were absolutely amazing. I'd 100% go there again. So a new midwife came in who was just as nice, lovely. About 7ish, then it was like, right, it's time to push. Pretty sure Grand Designs was still on or something, Big Bang Theory or something still on, but I was like, okay, put the TV off. I just wanted to be one of those people that just had an easy, I'd literally I'd sailed through pregnancy and labour up until then perfectly. And so I was pushing, so I had my feet up on these stirrups. I was numb. She was like, push as hard as you can as if you're having a poo, basically. But I couldn't feel anything, so I didn't know where I was pushing. So I just used all my strength pushing now for so long, and so you only push when you have a contraction. But I couldn't feel my contractions, so they had to tell me. And that's when it started to get a bit downhill. I was pushing as hard as I could. She was saying I was doing really well, but she was checking the charts, and I think Ariella's heart rate had shot up and shot back down. I think my heart rate was shooting up. I think my body temperature was really high. She got another midwife in for her opinion, and like, right, we're gonna have to stop your contractions. I ran 2 red flags for sepsis, so that was scary. I don't know why I feel emotional. So for an hour I was actually sat there like, oh, I thought she was gonna come, I thought she'd be here. At this point then, doctors were coming in and out. It's very vague, I can't really remember this point. a lot of us people coming in and out saying what they're going to do if this happens, if this doesn't happen, wherever. And an hour later, right, they gave me a hormone then to restart my contractions then. They were like, we're going to start again, you're going to push again. Okay, so within, I think minutes must have been, I had contractions again. I was pushing and same thing was happening. She just wasn't coming out. Midwife checked and realised she was back to back. So I don't think a baby can come out back to back. Or it's really painful, or it doesn't, I don't know. I think doctors are in and out constantly. They spoke to me and she was like, look, we're going to take you into theatre. We're going to have to try instruments first. If they don't work, it'll then be a C-section. And I got upset because I just didn't prep myself for a C-section. I just so convinced I was just going to go in there and push her out and it's going to be fine. And I thought that, like, I thought Josh was only going to have about 2 days off after I gave birth, so I thought I wouldn't be able to sit up in bed, pick her up, I wouldn't be able to drive, or I know I'd have family support. I just got upset because I just didn't prepare for it. So then they were like, right, you go into theatre. Next thing I know, my bed was being pushed into the theatre. It's quite funny because to get me onto the other bed then, I just remember I was like dead weight, couldn't feel anything. So literally had to like shuffle me above, I was thinking about 6 people, like shuffle me onto this other bed. That was funny. Josh had to wear scrubs and a hat. And then you lie on that bed and I felt like I was in a scene out of Grey's Anatomy. They got these massive big lights on you, about 12 people in the room, I can't remember. They're lovely, they're talking to you, trying to keep you calm. And then they go around the room one by one saying their names and who they are, what they're going to do. And there were some students, they asked you, do you mind if the students come in? I thought, well, might as well get more people to look up. Might as well. Little lying there like, hi, I'm James, I'm the anaesthetist, hi, I'm something, I'm this, hi, I'm... Goes around, like, I felt like it's going to come to me and I'm going to be like, hi, I'm Melanie, I'm your patient. Like, oh. So they were like, right, we're going to try forceps first. So when you have a contraction, you push and we're going to pull. First of all, sorry, they had to turn her because she was back to back, they just turn around. I think they must have done that first. I feel like I felt that. I didn't feel it as pain or anything, I just knew something inside me turned. A bit like how she would turn inside me when I was pregnant anyway. Yeah, they were like, when you have contraction, you push, we pull. And I think it'd been about 3 or 4 times. I was pushing, they were pulling, like nothing was happening. Me and Josh were talking about this last night actually, when I was talking about I was going to do this video today. And he was saying that was his first experience of, he sort of had an out of body experience. He said he was just sat there, hopeless. I'm gonna get emotional. He couldn't do anything and I was there pushing as hard as I could. They were pulling and she wasn't coming. He had feelings of, he knew he was going to have this little family and he had visions of like if the worst happens. Oh, so that was sad. But then before I know it, my eyes were closed doing all this. Before I know it, they didn't even say like, she's here. I just felt this baby on my chest. I was like, she's here. And I remember going, is her head okay? Because it was obviously, she'd had forceps, it was not, her forward is a bit of corn shape. But they were like, it's fine, it's because she's had forceps, she's fine, she's lovely. I think they took her quickly away just to check her all up. I was just lying there and then they passed her up to Josh and he was there, so I was like looking up like that. I think I was a bit out of it, I don't know what was going on. I was just lying there, what felt like. I was thinking like, what are they doing? I remember going, has my placenta come out? And they were like, yeah, that's come out. About 10 minutes ago, I was like, oh, okay. But what I didn't think about until afterwards was I would have liked to have had skin to skin and I would have wanted delayed cord cutting, but I didn't get the option of those. I think it's because obviously the safety for Ariel, I think obviously they needed to check her, which is completely fine. Like, I don't think it affected anything now, to be honest. Just lying there for ages, looking around. Honestly, my legs are like up on this thing and there's just 2 doctors. And they said, oh, they're just stitching you back up. I was like, oh, I didn't even realise they'd split me to get Ariel out, which makes sense. I remember them turning to Josh and being like, are you okay? You look a bit pale. And he was like, yeah. He was worried because he was like over the moon that Ariella was in his arms, her baby girl had made it. And he said, just beyond me, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see anything beyond the 2 doctors, really. There was this massive bag. piping bag, just 10 times the size. And he said he was just filling full of my blood. Like, he's like, it's about this much full of my blood. And no one was really saying anything. They were not telling him anything. He was kind of getting upset because he thought, like, Ariel had made it. And he didn't know what was happening to me and if I was going to make it. Which is silly. Obviously, I'm fine. That was it. I just remember getting put on then to the other table, passed Ariella to me in my arms to like push my bed then back into the room where I got to see my parents then. They push you in this bed and you go down the corridors like you've seen a film, and I was honestly sat there with Ariella. I was expecting like people to be out there like, hey, like clapping down the corridors or something. But for people working there, it's just another day in the office, isn't it? Back into my room, and my parents then came in. I think I might have slept for a bit then. I think I had that room for a good couple of hours, which was nice just to be us. Then I got taken up to a ward where Josh could come with me. Because this was before all the lockdown restrictions. I'm so lucky. This was about 2 weeks before we went into lockdown, before partners weren't allowed to go into hospital with their girlfriends, wives. I got taken to a ward where it was just me. There was 4 beds in the room, but it was just me, right by like the office, the midwives. You just press this button, the midwives would come and help you with Ariella. They'd feed her, they'd wind her for me. Like, I would try and do it, but if it was too much they would do it, or during the night they would do it for me. Honestly, it was so helpful. Josh could stay with me till about 9ish, I think, 9 at night, and then you could come back at I think 10 in the morning. They were doing the paediatrician came, and they just did a 1-over check of Ariella, fab, everything's fine. And they ask you how you are, and you know, I don't know how you're meant to feel after you give birth. Obviously I was tired, I was drained. My feelings were starting to come back, so I just felt really a lot of discomfort down below where I had a catheter in and I was stitched back up. I found it really hard to obviously sit. I wasn't comfortable wherever way I sat. Do your bloods all the time, and then my blood results came back, and they came in, they were like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, but like, apart from the obvious, like, yeah. So they're like, you can't go home today, you're gonna have to have a blood transfusion. My iron levels, so in your blood they test you like hemoglobin, your iron. Straight after I gave birth, my levels were like 80, which anything 80 or below is classed as anemic. But they weren't concerned when it was 80 because I just given birth, I lost a lot of blood. Until the next morning, I think it must have been another blood test. Results came back and my hemoglobin had dropped to 60. So they were really concerned, and that's why they were like, are you okay? I was like, thinking of it, like during the day when I was replying to text messages and stuff, I felt like when I was typing I was drunk. Like, I'd read back through the text and I was like, what am I trying to say? It just made no sense. So obviously I wasn't okay. That evening I had 2 blood transfusions. They just put the blood in, and you've got for 2 hours then. I think about 2 hours it takes for 1 bag to get into you, and then they took that out and they put another bag in then. The 2 lots. It was mad to just think that I was lying there having someone else's blood put into me, which is mad. Like, I wish I knew who it came from, just to thank them. Generally, do you know what, I was okay. Like, it sounds quite a traumatic birth, but I was fine. Like, I think I was just so out of it, nothing fazed me. And then on the Friday, again, so Josh was literally with me morning till night every single day. He was lucky enough to have he had the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and then played a game on the Saturday. I went home then on the Friday because my bloods came back and they were fine. One thing I forgot actually, my belly had stayed quite big after giving birth, which I expected anyway. Like, it's big for a while before it goes back down. Like, doctors would come and see, and one doctor, she's like prodding in my belly, and I was like, because we just had a baby and then nothing can prod you. But they were trying to figure out why my belly had stayed quite big, basically. Like, one doctor, they bring someone else with them who was learning, I think. And he went to me, oh, still looks like you got a baby in there. Thanks. That's just what I wanted to hear. Lucky I can take a joke. I actually had to have an ultrasound then. I had to go down to have an ultrasound. So weird having an ultrasound without a baby in there. But I think what they didn't really tell me until like after they were checking that I didn't have any internal bleeding, because the drop of hemoglobin overnight, they don't know basically how it dropped so much. Everything showed fine. I was just put on a course of iron tablets, Today is my last day of my iron tablets, so 7 months post-birth I've now finished my iron tablets. So other than just being in discomfort down below because of stitches, everything else is fine. Honestly, I would do it again, like, in a heartbeat. No matter how traumatic it is, it's about like the best thing ever to us. Like, I gave birth to a human. I don't think it's meant to be easy. I would say it was positive. It was a positive experience. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope if you're pregnant and due to have a baby, good luck. Honestly, your baby's gonna come out one way or another. Doesn't matter how it happened. If you don't want to take drugs for it, I play to you. If you do want to, what I believed was you don't get a medal for not taking the drugs. So don't be scared. It's honestly such an amazing experience. Please like and subscribe this video or pass it on to any pregnant friends of yours. And also let me know what other type of videos you want me to do. I will put a question box on my Instagram maybe when this video goes live. But if you want to direct message me or leave a comment, let me know what type of videos you want me to do. I'm quite open to hearing all your ideas. I've got a few, but obviously I want to try and do one a week. The more ideas, the better. But thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next week. Bye!